Gosha, welcome to Show Studio.
Thank you.
First question. I was reading a lot of interviews you've done in the past, and one of the things that you said is fashion is just part of this world I'm building. And you said clothing is a part of my big art project. And I'm interested because you do so many different things. You know, you design clothing, but you also make films, you photograph. And I'm interested, what world is it that you're trying to build? What do you mean by that?
Oh.
Big question.
Yes, you're right. The fashion was not the first thing we start. So like when I was around like 20 plus, I think I need to do something, and I have interest in different things like photography, like films, like fashion. And I started to do some things. I used to work like stylist, like costume designer for some movies in Russia. I try to do some photography things with my friends, some diaries. And it was a dream to do some fashion project. But I know the themes which is interesting for me. It's like some youth, some like young kids in Russia, and when I start, I don't really understand how to put together these my interests and fashion project. And once I meet a company of some young kids, teenagers, skaters, and I start to spend time with them. And we spent, I think, like a summer together. We go to some crazy parties in Moscow. I shoot every day, every time, like documenting these things. And after we have different trips to St. Petersburg, to other cities. And during all this time, I think, yes, this is the right moment for my fashion project. This is the people who I want to work with, who I like to work for. And it was big inspiration for me. And they said, my friends, they said, Gosha, you should start your project. Let's do collection. It was like a game. Why not? Let's try to do a fashion show. And one of my friends, they own some big nightclub in Moscow, Solyanka. Now it's not exist now, but it was. And they said, Gosha, it's an interesting project. We want to support you. We want to give you some money and rent some space you want and do everything you want. So, and we rent this like huge sports stadium and made collection of like it takes a month. We made t-shirts. We made some. It was really like a game. It's not like serious fashion project. It was like a game, and finally we made it. It was like it was more like a performance. I like our performance than a fashion show. But anyway, it was very strong. It's like big sport Soviet stadium. Like 20 boys wearing sportswear, some t-shirts going around with some crazy music and with some like performance thing. And it was a start, but we already had like photography, and I think everyone said, "Gosh, it works good together." Mm-hmm. Like clothes, boys, pictures, video, and I started to do it. And it's always for me is interesting all together. Mm. I don't like to separate. That's why I start to shoot lookbooks by myself, because when we have collection, who can shoot it? And my friend Dasha, she said, Gosha, you should do it by yourself. Why we need to ask someone? You should do it. And I start to learn. I have some like photography classes in my college, but I never shoot lookbooks and I never shoot portraits, and I start to learn. And it's interesting.
Is it strange for you when people call you a fashion designer. Do you find that quite strange, given that your approach, you want to do everything and you want it to be like a world? Is it strange that people now who maybe don't know so much of how you came to fashion, when they just call you a designer? Is that frustrating?
I don't like when people put some things in the boxes.
Yeah.
It's not only about me. And some people who don't want to learn, don't want to look deep, they say, "Oh, okay, it's fashion designer," or "Okay, it's." I think it's a bit stupid, and of course, I don't feel myself like fashion designer. It's fashion. It's for me. It's like play the game. So now we do fashion because it's not like for me like fashion. It's I know we make items which I know work well with my feelings, with my project. I think it's good. It's a good compliment to all other things. That's why, and I was surprised that it's sell well, and that's why it's now not a game. It start to be a business. But
yeah.
anyway, it's good. It's good to do it, but I'm still don't think I'm a designer, a fashion designer. So I feel more comfortable when someone said you're like artist or some, I don't know, like photographer or I don't know, like producer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Because I'm a person who like to control everything. I like to do everything by myself. So
Yeah.
I draw all sketches by myself. I only help graphic designer to do it in digital. And everything, every ideas, everything you see from Gosha, it's all my work. And it's hard when now it starts to be bigger, it's hard to do all by myself. And of course I start to feel this like rush and like some nervous thing. It starts happening. And
it's really hard. Do you worry ever that as it gets bigger and it grows, that the reasons that you started, which seem very authentic and very much about, real life and real culture, do you worry that that will become hard to reconcile with the way that the fashion system works, where it's so about consumerism and, buying things and buying more and more? Do you worry ever that those original ideas will be hard to fit with the system?
I think original idea was to show our world to other people.
That's interesting.
First of all, to show in Moscow, to show in Russia, and after we want to show it international. And I like it. I think it's good when people wants to see you, wants to interesting in you, and wants to buy something. It's good, and why not? And I'm happy to buy more stuff because we grow auditory and we have money from it, and this money can help young designers or young boys who can help me and work with me. It's interesting, and of course it's money gives more freedom. We can do more projects, we can be more free. I think it's good. I like what's happening now.
So when you say, because it's interesting, you say a lot that you do your work and you did that first collection, you do it for them, for those kids.
Yes.
And is that what you mean when you say that you're doing it to kind of, show the world who they are and talk about what they're about? Is that what you mean when you say you do it for them?
Yeah, it's like, as I said, I do all things alone, but anyway, it is a collaboration. I always spend my time with like teenagers, young kids or young people who do something interesting in Moscow, and I try to feel this energy or try to see what's happening, and I try to help. If I can help, I help, or if I how to say. It's interesting to collaborate, and it's always like I feel it's like a community, not I'm alone, but anyway it needs to be one leader who make it real.
It's interesting because you talk about this community and they're obviously such creative and inspiring, talented people. And you said, you're almost kind of the leader of it and you're spearheading it. And I wondered, why you in some ways? Do you ever look at these amazing people around you and think that it could have been one of them? Like, why is it you that's kind of, because it's Gosha that everyone knows the name, why is it you, not one of them?
I don't know, maybe I have some special interest. I like to meet people, I like to see what's happening. And of course, maybe it's some special feeling inside. I'm always, when I look at someone and say, oh, maybe it's some interesting person or some strange feeling, and I start to collaborate or and after these people can do something in future, and I don't know, and I don't know, maybe I have energy and I want to do something. Maybe that's why it's successful, or that's why maybe people have attention.
And do you think that you are very ambitious?
I think it's not about ambitious. I very how to say it's still very clean for me. I remember this moment. I remember it was winter time, Russian winter time. I was in, I think, in 8th class or something in the school, and I go from my school to my home. Like, it was cold, and I go through a press shop, and I saw amazing cover of the magazine, and I want to see what is it, because I never before I never have interest in magazines, or I was like the normal teenager, and then whoa, what is it? What's the magazine? And I spent all my breakfast money for this magazine, and I put it to my home, and it was a revolution in my head, because it's first time I see pictures like that. It's all was unbelievable. It's crazy for 14 years old boy, and I think, wow, I like this magazine. I like people who I see on the pages, and I want to be the same. I want to be like these people. I want to be on these pages. It was not about fame. Not about. It's about interest in life. I want to do something interesting.
It's interesting to me that you talk about that kind of, that feeling, because I wonder, did you ever feel, in some ways your work is it celebrates Russia and it celebrates your upbringing, where you're from, but I wonder, did you ever feel frustration at where you were born? Because often, even just in England, when I interview designers who didn't live in London, they'll talk about feeling so bored where they were and wishing they were, like you say, going out and hanging out with the kind of people in the face or in ID. And did you ever feel a frustration that you weren't?
It's how to say, in late 90s, it was amazing time in Russia, and I never think somewhere is more interesting. It was really interesting to be there. And after, of course, I want to do something, and yes, for me was a dream to go to London once, and when I was 10 years ago, when I was 20, I go first time, and it was like, wow, it's something crazy, but anyway, it was interesting for me because of many interesting magazines, some art books, because we don't have many in Russia, so it was interesting for me, yes, some things, but how to say, I early understand it's better to do what you understand well. So I know my city, I know my community. That's why when I start to do my own things, I think it needs to be here, to base it on these themes, and I don't want to move somewhere. I still feel energy and feel interest in Moscow, and especially in new generation, and it's still good. But of course, I like to be somewhere else, and yeah.